David Cox is asking, should you put your phone number on your truck? It depends on your goals. If you are a small local company and you focus on the local community, definitely put a phone number. So if you live in a small town, couple thousand people, they will call you, they will text you. If you live in large metro and you're trying to grow and you have 10, 20 trucks on the road, focus on your brand. The ugly truth here is people don't memorize your numbers. You're probably not going to be getting calls. So you're better off to put your logo as big as possible on a truck. I mean, you might do a little combination, put a big logo, something Googleable if you have a solid business name. I remember we visited Rapid Roofing in Michigan, and they only did giant logo on all of their vehicles, like pretty much on every truck it would be logo size of 2 doors, and people would be googling them. They see them. You want people to recognize your logo, you want people to recognize your brand, and there's nothing wrong with putting a phone number, but maybe make it smaller for those who wants to find it. But people are going to google your company. If they drive behind you, they're not going to try to remember the name. But in the smaller towns, a little bit different. Mike Rogers asks, where do you see a roofing industry in 1, 5, and 10 years? Great question. I think right now in year one, what we have right now, it's I would call it adaptation. AI, digital tools separate old school roofers with the new school roofers. So people who adapt to new technology, they are moving away. I'm actually getting calls all the time from old school roofers who've been in the market for 30, 40 years, and they're crying out right now. They're like, Dimitri, I live in smaller town. I recently got a guy calling me from Jacksonville, Florida. The guy been in business for 40 years. And the reality is he used to compete with 3, 4 companies. Now there are 40 companies in his town, and he's losing. He has to compete with them, more bids, more estimates. People don't remember his name. So because everybody shops digitally now or switching to shop digitally. So year one is adaptation and it's filtration. You're going to see new age and old age. But I would say in 5 years, you have consolidation periods. So now if you have a smaller company and all the smaller guys are going to be acquired by bigger players, strong brands and well-run systems will dominate small players. So if you're a smaller company, it's getting harder and harder to compete with the bigger players. So consolidation will happen in the next 5 years. Not to say that smaller guys will go completely extinct, but you're going to see a lot more big brands acquiring hundreds of smaller players in most markets. And in year 10, complete digitalization. Don't know how to say that word. If you look at what happened to auto industry, we buy cars pretty much on price online. That's how we shop. There's not a lot of negotiation happening on the lots. In order to get on the lot, you pretty much already making decision what you found online. And I see the roofing is going to be like that. So we already have tons of tools with the instant quotes. There's so many AI technology there right now that people can just put an address, and we have brands that will tell you how much your gutter should cost, how much your shingle should cost. And roofers argue with me all the time that it's not like buying a car because every roof is complex. Yes, it's complex, but selling cars is complex too. There's age and miles and some, but we're a commodity business. Buying Toyota Camry, it's just matter of how many Camrys is in the market. What's the average Camry have been sold with this kind of miles in the next 5-10 years? It's just the data. So the same thing here. If you have 20 square roof, and if I have a data that last 10 roofs in 2-mile radius have been installed for $6,000-$7,000, 6-7, you will predict the price or fair price, like blue book price for that roof. So in 10 years, it's all going to be digitalized. That's how the winners will combine craftsmanship, technology, and trust. And I truly believe that homeowners will book roofers like hotels, verified, those who build trust, those who have a lot of reviews. That's where we're going. Mike Rogers also is asking, has the private equity bubble burst? Not yet, but it's definitely deflating. So the money was cheap for many, many years, and investors have overpaid for a lot of companies. So now the rates are way higher. Everything is harder. The easy money is gone, but good operators with a good clean books, with a good culture, they're in high demand. So it's not like private equity stopped buying, but because of the interest rate and cost of capital is way more now, and people are investors are more careful. If you run clean shop, like good company, if you profitable, you will attract capital. It's not a Bible burst. I would say it's a reality check. If you're just starting a company to sell the company, you have to do what's right. You have to build a team. You have to have W2 employees. You have to have scalable growth. You have to work very, very hard for a couple of years to show profit on the books. It's not just about sales. Private equity don't even look at the sales anymore. They look at that EBITDA like never before. And if you have declining year from last year, it paints the picture of them, and you're not going to be raising capital. But reality check is here. Money is also here. It's harder, but good clean shops still attract capital. Oh, I love this question. Ryan Jackson is asking, how are companies like Erie and Best Choice Roofing so successful when they do the opposite of what most industry influencers recommend? Thank you for asking. Because business is not about what's trendy. Business is about what works. So those Erie and Best Choice built massive systems, discipline, and high volume machines. They don't chase likes. They don't chase what's trending, what people are saying. They found what works for them, and they just multiply it. They live in numbers and data and systems. And I'm the same way. I can teach you and I can show you 20, 30 different ways. And it's true. Like, I've traveled to so many companies. Like, this company will do door knocking and canvassing, will do really, really well, and they will be number one, massive success. And another company will do the same thing with a call center. And another company will do with the social media. We just visited Window Concepts in Atlanta, $12 million, number one lead generation, Facebook. They found what worked for them. They found one problem. There's a formula, 1-1-1, like one product, one value proposition, one marketing material. So these kind of companies, they figured out what works. They build a system, they build a training, and they build empire on that data. Wherever is scalable, wherever is repeatable, wherever worked for them early on, they double down on it. Like Best Choice Roofing does not care what anybody else is doing. Erie Roofing does not care what everybody else is doing. They do what works for them. And I will tell everyone, doing less is doing more. There's a lot of noise and there's a lot of things we should try. I'm a minimalist. I have all the tools, and Brent comes to me all the time. Dimitri, here's AI tool. Here's this app. Here's that app. Guess what? Most of my productivity and most of my money is made on my notes during text messages and DMs, and it's how fast I respond. It's not because I have 500 apps on my phone. It's because I have top 3 and they make me 90% of my money. Now, do I go and say don't use it, or is it no? If it works for you, it works for you. But find what works for you and just scale, multiply it until if it's not broken, don't fix it. So many people are distracted with all the signups and all the noise, and they use their CRMs at 5% of their capacity. I guarantee you, Erie and Best Choice use their CRM to 95% of their capacity. Every function, every task, and they make people accountable to use their process and their system. Same with McDonald's, the same with the Chick-fil-A. It's a simple process, but everybody has to follow it. You don't need to have big menu. You don't need to have complicated process, but wherever you have to make people accountable, train them, scale, and just multiply. Alex Rangel says, if you were starting over today in 2025, how would you build brand trust faster? I love this because everything changed. Social media changed in the past 5 years. How we do business with each other changed, especially social media marketing. So people don't care what you sell. Nobody likes to be sold. I would document everything, all my jobs, all my mistakes, all my lessons. Transparency is currency in 2025. People don't care what you sell. People care who you are. So build trust. Show me that I can trust you. Just throw myself on the internet. Be who I am. You cannot pretend to be someone you're not. People don't like fake. People don't like arrogance, the era of gurus and know-it-alls and experts are gone. So if you go online and tell people I'm the expert, if your company name is integrity or quality and you lead with it, it pushes people away. Because of course you think that you're the best thing ever. Of course you think that you have the highest quality. But you come off as just a person who's trying to sell and make a dollar. Back in a day, 5, 10 years ago, brands would post this picture perfect images, picture perfect content, everything is polished. Today, people don't like it. People want you to make mistakes. People want you to be vulnerable. People want you to be who you are. I would argue that showing your mistakes will make you more money in business than showing your wins. I would not tell people that I'm successful. I would not tell people that I'm the best. I would just be me and I would lead with it and I would build trust that way super, super fast. What's one thing that kept you successful this long? I would say just mentality. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm not the most creative. Just consistency. I'm workaholic. I'm addict to work. That's it. I don't have plan B. Only go up. I've been doing it for 20 years now. I've never been fired from the job. Never lost a business or closed the business. Sometimes you have to close the door to do something else. That's why I sold the conference. I sold my roofing business because you can't have 5 doors open and focus on them. I can do 3, 4 things pretty well, especially if they complement each other. But if something distracts me from the goal, I just get rid of it, sell it, delegate it. But I would say just consistency. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most talented. But if you're the most consistent, if you show up every day, hard work pays off. Even at the gym. Like I'm not, the strongest athlete, but I will outwork you. I will outlift you. And if I do something for 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day, and you only do 4 hours a day, and if I'm more intentional, I'll beat you. Sooner or later, I'll beat you. I'll put more hours in it. I'll sleep on it more on that idea. So that's my secret, just consistency. If you are a one-man band, how do you hire your first person? Love this question. First of all, I think the first hire should be someone who will make you more productive. It's your receptionist, it's some kind of assistant, someone who will do smaller tasks around you. If they can do what you do at 80% quality, 80% of capacity, if they can do 80% how you would do it because that extra 20% you can multiply. You do what you do best. If you're good at sales, if you're good at marketing, those kind of jobs pays $100, $200 an hour. You can hire assistant for like 20, 25. Why you're answering phone calls? Why you're doing small stuff, the paperwork, the preparation? Outsource something that just takes your time, like delegate. You don't have to even start full-time. You can start part-time, 10, 15 hours, and you'll be surprised how much more productive you can get. Don't hire for luxury, hire for leverage. I'm not hiring people because I want a big team. I don't hire people because they're necessarily going to make me money, but I'll make me money. They'll help me make money. And I would argue that, in a roofing example, you can wear 3 hats. You can do sales, you can do marketing, and you can do work, right? But if you hire people, one person to install, you will do the sales, and one person to do admin work, like let's say answer phone calls and follow up with the estimates or send file permits, things like that. It's easier for 3 people to make $12,000 a month than $4,000 for one person. So if each person needs $4,000, it's easier for 3 people to make 12 than each of them to do 4. And the reason is because you think you can multitask, but you really can't, because you're going to be dropping balls here and there, and it'll cost you more money, I promise you. Chris Navas is asking, what's more important, company branding or personal branding, and why? I love this question. If you're small, personal branding is the most important. Here's why. People buy from people, they don't buy from logos. That's why you see on the marketplace a lot of people buy from owner operators instead of big brands. So personal brand can be even stronger than a big branding because in America, people like to support small businesses, companies, and if you think about it, your name, your face, your reputation, it truly opens doors for you. Now, As you grow, your company brand will take over, and that will give you freedom. Once you build a brand, like behind every brand, there's a person, there's a personal story, right? But once you build a brand and it's associated with your name, now you get freedom. Now people buy from the name they trust. Your Apple Roofing, once you have 50 trucks on the road, people recognize it. So that truly will sell even when you are not there. I remember after 4 or 5 years at Storm Group Roofing, I would walk into my office and we were doing millions in sales, right? But I look at my walls and I didn't recognize any homeowners. I would go online. Don't recognize the names. I was completely out of the process. You go online and you see 20 reviews per month, and people are not mentioning you. They're mentioning your sales reps, your project managers. That's the brand. So company brand builds legacy. So you need both, but you have to start with you. Build your personal brand first, and then company brand will follow it. Jean Riche is asking a question on rebranding. We've done about 60 rebrands, and I'll share this because I've seen it all. I have my regular business name and I have another brand name that's super appealing. How could I combine both? John, we've talked about it for many, many years. You have a typical procrastination problem. You just cannot jump. Business is where you jump. It's just like jumping from airplane. Sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes you have to go all in. And I remember talking to Rox from San Antonio, Texas. He was there in 2018 and he went all in with the Rox Roofing. And look at his brand. I mean, he went kick charge, he wrapped his vehicles. He used to work. I remember talking to Rock, like he would come to me and say, Dmitry, I'm working for builders. And he was sitting on two chairs, like he's kind of subcontractor and trying to do his own jobs, but he made the jump. John, you have amazing ketchup brand. The answer here, you cannot combine the two. You can't be sub and run your own business. The brands that you have right now, you're holding on. You can't have a bad name and a good name. You just have to go all in and change it. And I know it's hard, but I've changed names of my businesses, and you can do too. Go what people will remember. Focus groups don't like. Your ego lies to you. You think that, oh, but people remember us. Listen, I've rebranded 50, 60 people, 50, 60 companies. I've never heard one single regret about changing name for the better. Never met a company who said, oh, I wish we did not do it. It's always the same answer. I wish I did it earlier. And you already 4 years behind. You go for it. Like Nate Schwippe, I've been telling him for years to change the name, and finally a year or two ago he switched to Yeti. He's been something advanced that nobody even remembers, and a couple of years ago he changed to Yeti. And talk to Nate. You are Nate today. I'm giving you 30 days to rebrand your company. The same thing I told Nate Schwippe. If you look at all the brands and everything I've done, like Roofing Process Conference, I came up with a name in 2 weeks. And from the day I came up with the Roofing Process Conference, the first event was 60 days. You have to move fast, man. And before that, it was just like roofing class. But I came up with like a roofing class, my events outgrew the capacity of what we were doing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change it. It's not going to be a roofing class anymore. It's going to be a roofing process conference, because if you have 150 people, it's not no longer a class. It's bigger. So I renamed it and I started running conferences instead of classes. And within 60 days, it was full blown. It went within 1 year, 500 and 1,000, and we grew it. But sometimes you just have to create a name and run with it. You already have a name. You just have to pull the trigger. 30 days, man. Don't procrastinate no more. What advice would you give someone who wants to start their own roofing company? Bless your heart. But honestly, my advice is learn every part of the business. Learn marketing, learn installation, be the student, every department. Don't think that anyone will come in and save the day or build a business for you. Nobody gonna do it for you. So many people have a business plan like, oh, this company will get me leads, or this company will install good quality work, or this company, this guy will sell for me. You have to learn sales. You have to learn marketing. You have to know actually the trade itself. You have to know what's going on in your company. You have to know your numbers. You don't have to do them, but to be dangerous in business, you have to be a little bit of accountant. Otherwise, you will not understand your numbers. You have to be a marketer, or you will not understand Google ads or Facebook ads. You have to be dangerous enough with your knowledge before you outsource it. And I would also say this, like, don't rush. Build your reputation slow. When first starting a company, you have to learn a lot. But one thing I can tell you is you're no longer the roofer. The moment you start a business, you're a leader. You're building people. You're building a team. I know you can install the roofs. I know you can do hard labor, but what you have to do, you have to learn how to lead people, how to build people, how to delegate. Those are hard skills to learn. People think just because they can install the roof, they're going to be making great business owners because they work hard. No, you have to almost forget that you ever been installer. You're no longer the roofer. You're leader. You have to build people. You have to follow your own rules. You have to build your own reputation. And for the rest of your life, that's that's the job description. You're a leader now.